Gilgeous Alexander. Shabbat for three. Bingo!
Carter will get it for the win. Got it! He is hard to believe.
Here's Jordan.
Yes. The Magic, a 360 turn with the dribble. Magic down the middle. Gives underneath to Worthy. Slammed up.
Third in the corner. Double fake.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Dime Dropper and a 2022 NBA playoff recap for our second round here in the Western Conference, or both conferences, I should say. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe on YouTube at Dime Dropper Podcast, Apple Podcasts, follow us on Spotify, and of course, to follow us on all social media platforms at Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Dime Dropper Pod. So, live from Los Angeles tonight. I was trying to go live a little bit earlier, but a little bit of a later dinner tonight. Typical Iranian shit. You know, something about Iranian people. We're night owls. There are exceptions to every rule, but almost, I'd say 90% of Iranians you meet like to thrive in the nighttime, stay up late. You always, anything Iranians say, you got to always like add an hour to it, to me. That's how I see it. Anyways, let's get down to business. 2 games on the slate tonight. Miami Heat, Philadelphia 76ers, game 2. And then, of course, the game I was more excited for, the Dallas Mavericks and the Phoenix Suns, game 2. Now, before I start talking about either game, I want to talk about Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero won 6th Man of the Year. And he deserves 6th Man of the Year. I've been saying he's going to win 6th Man of the Year. And I'm here to congratulate him for winning 6th Man of the Year. Tyler Hero is a guy who I was saying some pretty reckless things about in his rookie season, a little bit of a prisoner of the moment kind of thing. If you go check out my early, I don't even know if you guys would have access to those podcasts because I think Spotify and Apple Podcasts be deleting. But if you can find them, my earliest podcast in the glorified summer league about Hero's potential going into the finals. But he had a sophomore slump. You saw it more than anything in that series against Milwaukee last year. But this year he bounced back, was awesome off the bench. You could make a case that he could have been an all-star because Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Kyle Lowry had all missed time at various points of the season in that first half of the season. And Tyler Hero was one of the only constants coming off the bench, dropping 20 points a night around that. And playmaking, of course. And he's been very good in these playoffs so far. We talked about it in game 1. He was the man. And tonight, he was also pretty damn good. So let's get into it. Miami Heat, Philadelphia 76ers, still no Joel Embiid. And I thought that the first half, the Sixers kind of hung around, but the Heat were still stamping their authority on the game. Jimmy Butler making plays, getting into the mid-range area, getting to the rim, driving and kicking. Defense is going to be in drop coverage when DeAndre Jordan's in. Paul Reed is going to be trying to more switch everything kind of deal. And the Heat were having a decent amount of success, obviously a little bit more with DeAndre Jordan than Paul Reed. The Sixers were -2 with Paul Reed on the court, and then with DeAndre Jordan, they were -9. DeAndre only played 13 minutes, but Miami up by 8 at halftime.
The world of work has changed, so you're reshaping.
Jesus, sorry about that, guys. But Miami up by 8 at halftime. Bam Adebayo doing his thing. Tyler Hero coming off and giving some good energy, some good buckets, some good playmaking ability as he always does. And I thought James Harden was actually decent in the first half. He was, the Heat are going to switch everything. He was able to get to the basket a couple times, get to the rim. And right before, like in the third quarter, Tyrese Maxey was keeping the Sixers afloat. The Heat were looking like they were going to explode and just kind of take it home. But Tyrese Maxey's ability to get to the rim, he's so fast. And he's got a great ability to finish at the rim. He was doing his thing. I thought he was the best Sixer tonight. The leading scorer on the team. He had 34 points on 12 for 22 shooting, 1 for 4 from 3. So he shot 18 twos. And remember, he's a small guard. Plays with a lot of heart. Tobias Harris had 21 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, 9 for 17. And still, I thought he was somewhat quiet. But the Heat in the fourth quarter started pushing forward and taking the game home. And Bam Adebayo was a big reason for that. Obviously, you know what he's going to do on the defensive end, but his ability on the offensive glass, trailing plays on pick and rolls, and he's just athletic. You know, the Heat just looks more physical, more athletic than this Philadelphia 76ers team with Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, even, you know, a bigger guy like Max Strus. They're just better, especially without Joel Embiid. You know, with Embiid, this would be a good series for sure. But without him, it's just not. And they were taking care of business. Hero was making plays and pick and rolls, throwing lobs. The Heat went zone various times in the second half against the Sixers. And James Harden, my God, it is really hard watching him play sometimes. Constant hot dogging. They're loading up on him, leaving guys wide open. And he wants to continue to just dribble, tween cross, pounding it. Sometimes I feel so bad for his teammates. Nowadays that I've noticed it, both games in this series, he fizzles out in the second halves. He gets tired. He doesn't have the legs anymore. He's not in that physical shape, in that condition. It's tough to watch, but not really. I actually enjoy watching it. It's hilarious to me because he's cheated the game for a while in many ways to me. He's still an all-time great Hall of Famer, but I just don't like watching him play basketball, and he needs to get out of these playoffs quickly. And I think it looks like it's going to be that way unless Joel Embiid comes back and saves the day because his basketball IQ is just not all that to me. It is, but not relative to take that next step in the playoffs. He just makes ridiculous decisions to me, just constant over dribbling, doesn't want to make simple passes when they're loading up on him, basically doubling him at the top. Just missing shots, short, just a sign of legs. And then on defense, standing up half the time. Just doesn't give that effort. He's not a winner to me at the championship level. There's levels to winning. By the way, somebody who I thought had a nice bounce back game tonight, Max Strus. He had 6 shots, made 3 of them, and they were all threes. 9 points for him, some timely ones. Victor Oladipo, also huge game from him tonight. Came in, gave some good minutes, was able to get to the basket, play make a bit. 19.6 rebounds, 6 for 11 shooting, 3 of 4 from deep. Tyler Hero, 18 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists on 6 for 10 shooting, and 3 of 5 from deep. And I thought Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo led the way. Jimmy Butler was making plays all night, moving without the ball. Bam Adebayo was in the Draymond role at times, just looking for cutters. Jimmy Butler, 22 points, 6 rebounds, 12 assists, 2 steals, bringing it on the defensive end, 8 for 15 shooting. And Jimmy Butler has just been off to a fantastic start in these playoffs. And he's helping take care of business. He didn't shoot well in the last game. He was 5 for 16, but he bounced back shooting the ball well in this game. However, I thought he was good in both games overall. And then Bam Adebayo, been the player of the series so far for Miami. 23 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, 7 for 11 shooting, and 9 for 11 from the line. Gabe Vincent, also an efficient night. Only shot 7 times, made 3 shots, 7 points. So the Heat win it 119-103. They take care of business, keep home court advantage, going to Philadelphia. We will see if Embiid plays. If he does not, I expect the Heat to win and end this series quick. For the Sixers, James Harden is the only guy I haven't read. By the way, Danny Green, oh man, he had a nightmare game shooting the ball. 3 points on 1 for 10 shooting, 1 of 9 from deep. So that was terrible. And then James Harden had a good first half, but 20 points in the game, 4 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 turnovers. So he took care of the ball better. 6 for 15 shooting, 1 of 5 from deep, just not hitting that 3 ball. 7 for 7 from the line. I just thought he needs to play great in order for them to win on the road in this series, and he's not. So that's it for that game. Let's move on to the main event tonight. The game that we want to see, or we wanted to see, I should say. Dallas and Phoenix. Now, with the Suns and the Mavs, I wanted to see how the Suns guarded the pick and rolls with Jalen Brunson. And to be honest, I didn't see too much more of an adjustment in terms of the Dallas Maverick offense. I mean, I saw them Brunson tonight got even less shots than he got the other night. And I think they did a little bit of a better job getting them going early. trying to get him and Spencer Dinwiddie going early. Dinwiddie, especially in the second quarter. I thought their best stretch was when Luka was out of the game, but didn't really change much. It's still just very Luka ball, and I just don't think they're going to be able to win this series. And I don't even think with what I'm suggesting, just like move the ball a little bit more, move without the ball a little bit, is going to change anything, to be honest. I think they're just not as good of a team, period. But a guy that got off to a great start for the Suns, Mikal Bridges. The beginning of the game, you saw the Dallas Mavericks, obviously in that drop coverage with Dwight Powell. Phoenix moves the ball so well. They make all the extra passes. Mikal Bridges making an open three, and then someone running him off the line, driving the ball, dishing it off to DeAndre Ayton. And again, for the second consecutive game, the Phoenix Suns started up 9-0. You saw drop coverage on both sides. You obviously know DeAndre Ayton is going to do the same thing on the other side. Reggie Bullock, by the way, made an effort tonight, especially in the first half, to pressure CP3 beyond half court, and especially the second he crossed half court, a reach in there, trying to bump him and do what he can. As typical with most Suns games we've seen this season, Devin Booker got off to a good start again. The leading 9 points a game in the first quarter. I believe that's the most in the NBA this year. He was getting to that mid-range, one-on-one in that, one-on-one if the Mavericks had a late switch, drop coverage, getting to the elbows, doing his thing. 7 points in the first quarter. But Luka magic started happening in that pick and roll, doing the same thing we saw last game where he was just weaving, moving at his own pace, doing a great job of keeping the defender behind him on his hip and using his body well. He's such a truck, had some beautiful moves. There was this one move he had on Cam Johnson, posting up, pump fake or fake spin. Cam was almost off balance, or he was off balance. Pump fake on the recovery, goes right into the chest and one. There was some beauty. You saw a bit. Jalen Brunson again started off 0 for 3, which was tough to see. Made his fourth shot attempt just like the other night, but didn't see that much more of him. And DeAndre Ayton for the Suns, again, got off to a good start. Jump hooks, being a great option in pick and rolls. And with that little push shot, he can catch it at the elbow, work there, doing his thing. But a good ending to the first quarter, by the way, for Dallas with Davis Bertans, who I actually thought gave the Mavs some really good minutes. He played some intelligent defense, was hustling, using his body well, running out and guarding guys on the perimeter as well. The Mavs, I thought their effort was really solid, honestly, especially through the first 3 quarters. And what made it really evident that this game was going to be different than the first game, and what's crazy is they ended up losing by more, but this game that was a better game for the Mavs, and a big reason that was in the beginning of the second quarter, they actually played decent and well in the non-Luka minutes. And that was mostly thanks to Spencer Dinwiddie and Jalen Brunson, but mainly Spencer Dinwiddie. I thought he was aggressive during that time, was able to hit a 3, and you can just see that different options, like putting Reggie Bullock in the pick and pop all game long, that was creating good shots for Dallas. You know, are the Suns going to switch every single screen? It puts them in some kind of predicament sometimes. The Suns were being guarded well as well. You saw them turn it up on the defensive end, Dallas. You know, Maxi Kleber is always going to give good hard on that end, good intelligence on the defensive end. He had this one dunk today on a fast break in that second quarter that was really nice. He took off from pretty damn far. But Luka, by the way, again, later in the first half when he came back and cooking in that drop coverage, getting to the mid-range, a lot of late switches. You saw 6-7 different guys guarding Luka, getting their crack at him one-on-one, and Luka was just getting what he wanted, getting to the basket. And Reggie Bullock was playing good defense for them on the other end. The Mavs looked great. Luka had 24 at half, and they were up 60-58 at halftime over the Suns. And Jay Crowder, another really good game for him. Even hit a mid-range coming off a screen in pick and roll, handling the ball on a miscommunication by Bertans and I believe Kleber. But Jay Crowder hit a couple open threes as well in that first half. But Dallas going in at halftime up 2, that was big time. Third quarter, though, the Suns started turning the screws up. Ayton was getting in foul trouble, though, which really hurt the Suns. They were being a little harsh all game to me on the whistle with Ayton. Little pushes, on switches. I remember one time it was Jalen Brunson switched onto him underneath the basket, and he kind of pushed off to create separation when the pass was coming into him. But it was such a small nudge that it's like, I don't know. I think that's pretty harsh on the guy just because he's big. And then there was the flagrant foul he got when he was on a fast break and kind of swung his elbow and it hit Dwight Powell in the neck area. And I don't think it was obviously intentional. I think he was trying to just, shift and go to the back, make a little 1-2 move, go up. But nowadays, you make that kind of contact with defenders. Even as the offensive player, you can get a flagrant foul. Growing up, I didn't see guys get flagrant fouls when they were on offense, but the game has changed, right? So you just got to accept it for what it is. Ayton being in foul trouble hurt. And you saw an adjustment for the Suns in the second half because the Mavs were getting threes in that drop coverage. And I did see Jalen Brunson, his first miss. I actually thought it was a good shot. The first miss of the game. The Suns were in drop coverage with Ayton on him. They didn't switch Ayton on him, and he got a good mid-range, decent look and missed. But I'm okay with that. If I'm the Mavs, I keep going to that and try to get him going that way. But anyways, they started to hedge Luka out and get the ball out of his hands. And they did a decent job of that. But the Mavs were also trying to put CP in the action a lot all game to try to make them make a decision. Do they want to switch Chris Paul onto Luka? Or because Chris Paul was guarding Reggie Bullock. Or does he want to hedge Luka and then recover? But that would leave Reggie Bullock open for a little pick and pop action, which they were benefiting off. And Reggie Bullock, I thought he had a really solid game all night long. He finished with 16 points on 5 for 9 shooting and 4 for 8 from deep. So basically all of them threes. And he was guarding Chris Paul. And up until the fourth quarter, was doing a really good job. But Chris, in the first half, he was really quiet. And you kept hearing, I don't remember who said it, but someone said in commentary that Chris was kind of taking pictures basically in his head, getting ready for what his plan is going to be in the second half. I think it may have been Grant Hill that was doing the commentary. And he was right. In the third quarter, he started getting a little bit into it scoring-wise. And you saw him hit a couple of shots. Book started getting doubled towards the end of the third quarter, making the right plays, finding his open teammates. The Suns just move the ball so well, and they're so connected on the defensive end. And then the fourth quarter. By the way, the Suns outscored the Mavs 31-23 in the third quarter. You just saw a lack of help, I'd like to think, for Luka, and I'd like to say in this game. I thought, despite, I think they should move the ball a little more, get Brunson and Spencer Dinwiddie more involved on the ball. It's like they don't really have much of a margin for error. You put the ball in your best player's hands and Luka and live with the results. I just don't think that heliocentric style of play is going to work against a team like this. And I get the argument, giving it to guys that are shooting inefficiently and are role players over Luka is a stupid strategy. But I just think moving the ball, moving without it a little bit, it can open up things for average NBA players. And shit, they got nothing to lose. But they're going to Dallas, so let's see if Luka can pull off some master classes. I wouldn't totally abandon it. I mean, if that's what you've been living off all year, which they have, you're going to have to stick with what's gotten you here, I believe. But the fourth quarter. And by the way, like the Dallas Mavericks were only down 4 points with a minute left in the third quarter. But Landry Shamet hit a big three. And, they went into the fourth down 6. But then we saw another, for the fourth time this postseason, Chris Paul fourth quarter takeover. And this one may have been the most ridiculous of them all. He started putting Luka Doncic in pick and roll time and time again. And after all the work that Luka had done offensively, and again, that's also another thing. How much energy does he have on defense? How much energy is he going to have late in games when they're playing like this? When he has to carry so much of an offensive load, when they're making him carry so much of an offensive load, or he's choosing to, what have you, whatever you want to say. It's tough. I know he's not a great defender, but I know he's better. He's been better this season, and I know he can be a little bit better than that. And I think he even said it after the game, I need to be better on defense. But Chris, he was getting into a lot of things. First, he hit a 3, then a pick and pop with Cam Johnson, putting Luka in that pick and roll. Cam popping out, hits the 3. Then a little ISO on Maxi Kleba on a late switch action when he was in drop. Hit a pull up, not a pull up, but just, sized him up, jumper. Then they got a steal. Mikal Bridges, again, just another great performance by him, both ends of the floor. A lob from Chris Paul to Bridges. And then there was the ridiculous play where Chris Paul finagled an offensive foul. The momentum, obviously, had shifted. The crowd was into it. And that Phoenix Suns crowd, man, they're one of the best in the league in these playoffs. They have been for this year's playoffs and last year's playoffs. Bringing the noise. The runs are crazy over there. That building gets going, and they can be out of sight in no time. And after that, Chris got into the lane, had a floater on Luka. Just amazing ball handling, so confident. And at this point of his career, he's seen so many coverages. He's seen everything. He has seen so many coverages. He just knows his game. He's perfected his game. Obviously, when you lose a step, you got to focus on other ways and being smarter, working smarter, not harder, to continue to be successful. And Chris Paul's been a guy that, despite being a quick player when he was younger, has never been a guy that's totally predicated his game on that kind of stuff. He's all skill, all confidence, all IQ, and he just gets to his spots and knows how to read the game and has counters to damn near everything. And he forced a timeout, looking over at the bench, coming back off the timeout. He wasn't stopping either. Stop on a dime, pull up, going right, going at Luka every damn time. And then Devin Booker came in and started splashing like there was no tomorrow. And that was it. The game was out of sight. Nothing the Mavs could do. They were rattled. They didn't have much. Luka was gassed. Luka was getting attacked in pick and roll, just like we saw against the Clippers last year in game 6 and 7. So Luka's got to be better defensively. There's no doubt, but they obviously just going to need more help in the offseason. Go out and try to get a second star for Luka, because Jalen Brunson's struggling in this series with the length of the Suns. Part of the reason why the Suns kept the Mavs in the game was because they were turning the ball over a lot, and the Mavs were hitting the 3-ball. But it's just very hit or miss. Luka's going to be able to eat, but how much more are you going to get from other guys? That's really what it comes down to. Jalen Brunson and Spencer Dinwiddie need to have all-world kind of performances. The Suns have two superstars, Chris Paul and Devin Booker. And Chris Paul, we're going to talk about the championship formula that I believe he has found in his own game. Let's read the lines, though. By the way, the fourth quarter, 40-28 in favor of Phoenix. So a total domination, or should I say, it was 40-26. The Suns win it 129-109, much like Miami. They're the opposing 1 seed. Take care of business at home. Let's read the stat lines. For the Mavericks, they played Josh Green 12 minutes. He didn't even get a shot off. Not a very relevant part to the game. 19 minutes for Davis Bertans. I thought he had some great minutes. 9 points. He was +7 on the court. 3 for 7 from the field. Those were all threes. I thought he defended well. Probably should get more minutes if he can continue to play like that. And then Maxi Kleba, 28 minutes played, 9 points, 3 for 6 shooting. I thought he was solid again. +4 when he was on the court. And then Spencer Dinwiddie, 11 points, 3 for 10 shooting, 2 for 5 from deep. He didn't play that great. You need more from him. He's going to need to get a little bit more touches, though, too. I mean, Luka, again, shooting 10 more shots than anyone else on the team. I just think that there may need to be more balance if they want to win. I think it's too predictable. It's just all Luka, high pick and roll. But you know what? That's just my opinion. I'm just a very I just love ball movement. I just think that brings the best out of pros and players. And I think it's harder to guard, but they're not going to change their philosophy now. Spencer Dinwiddie. So, yeah, not a great night for him. The reason why he's +1 in the plus-minus category is because he was part of that period of time in that beginning of the second quarter where they made a run without Luka on the court. And then the starters. Dwight Powell only played 13 minutes, so not really much to talk about with him. Dorian Finney-Smith, he had 4 fouls tonight, and they did not get much out of him, and they needed a little bit more. 20 minutes, he only got 2 shots off, made one of them. So that was tough. And then Reggie Bullock, 37 minutes. He played a good game to me. 16 points on 5 of 9 shooting and 4 of 8 from deep. And then Jalen Brunson continuing to struggle to start this series, shooting 9 for 28 through 2 games. 9 points tonight, 3 for 12 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3. He needs to be much better in Dallas, much better. And he turned the ball over 3 times. Luka, 35 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, but 7 turnovers, was making some really bad reads in pick and roll, throwing the ball away carelessly. Needs to be a lot needs to take care of the ball a lot more and a lot better because these Suns will take advantage of your mistakes. They're a very good team. They're experienced. I mean, to some degree. I mean, Devin Booker and Mikal Bridges and DeAndre Ayton and Cam Johnson have only been in the playoffs one time, but they went to the finals the first time. So that's a lot of experience right there. And then Chris Paul, you already know. So they're more experienced than a typical team that's only been together in terms of that core for 2 years. But if you don't count Chris Paul, they've been really together for 3 years since that 2020 season. But 35 points for Luka, as I said, 13 for 22 shooting. I think he's played really well so far in the series, but this just is not going to work. The team is just outmatched. 5 for 10 from three. And the Mavs shoot 41.5% from deep, 17 for 41. Shoot the ball well, but the Suns just shot the ball really well. 64.5% as a team. That is ridiculous for a playoff game. They only shot 25 threes, made 13 of them, so that's 52%. So they shot lights out. Landry Shamet, I thought he actually played some decent minutes tonight. 5 points for him. They were trying to go out of it, screen and roll, though, Dallas. Those pick and pops. They were getting some success off of it. But overall, I thought he played decent. 5 points, 2 of 4 shooting in 15 minutes. Cam Payne only played 12 minutes. Had 4 points, 2 for 4. Not much to say about him. Bismack Biyombo actually had to play 18 minutes tonight because JaVale McGee was in foul trouble. He played well, JaVale, when he was in. He had 6 points, 3 for 3 shooting. But just some careless fouls. Bismack Biyombo came in and did a really good job. 9 points. He even got a block. Had a nice dunk at one point. I thought that, and you saw Bismack Biyombo this season be a guy that when JaVale McGee, or I'm sorry, DeAndre Ayton was out, he could come in and do a job. He's an experienced player in this league. Cam Johnson, 17 minutes played. Really solid performance. 9 points, 3 for 6 shooting. You know he's going to defend. You know he's going to spread the floor. And then the starters. DeAndre Ayton, with foul trouble, only played 18 minutes, so he did not have as good of a game as game one. Only 9 points for him on 3 of 6 shooting, so that was tough. But thankfully for him, he's got great depth, and his team has stars, other stars. Jay Crowder, really good start to this series shooting the ball as opposed to New Orleans, where he really struggled. 15 points for him tonight, even more points than in game one. 7 boards, 3 assists, a steal and a block. Does his job on defense as well. 4 for 7 shooting and 3 for 5 from deep. 4 for 5 from the line. And then Mikal Bridges doing his thing. Just amazing to start the game, especially. 11 points, 3 boards, 6 rebounds. 6 assists, 2 steals. By the way, that's the second most assists for any player on the Suns. And 2 steals, 5 for 6 shooting, 1 for 2 from deep. Chris Paul, for me, the player of the game because of the way he took over that game. 28 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists for Chris. 11 for 16 shooting, 3 turnovers, 1 for 2 from 3. So only 2 threes shot. Everything else was mid-range, around the rim. Then D-Book, 30 points, 11 for 19 shooting. There was no cool down tonight. 5 for 8 from deep and 3 for 3 from the line. 4 rebounds, 4 assists to go along with that. He was spectacular. But Chris Paul, this is why I say I think he's found the championship formula. The stuff of legend, the stuff of, I always talk about Clyde Frazier in this aspect, but the greats of the greats. He has figured out now that he has a team. He doesn't have to control everything throughout the game when he's in all the time. He has a team where Devin Booker has matured a lot as a playmaker. He can handle the ball in pick and roll. You can also throw it down to DeAndre Ayton if you have no other options, that kind of thing. And in the beginning of games, they start out getting Devin Booker going. He lets D-Book eat. He shows off the ball, relaxes, but on defense, he's still engaged, he's still communicating, and he's not slacking. And Devin Booker gets going. He's the number 1 first quarter scorer in the league from what I saw. And every first quarter, it seems like he gets off to a solid start. And then when D-Book's out, he starts handling the ball. But when they're in together, he lets Book do his thing. But then the fourth quarter comes, and he's kind of seen what the defense is doing, seen what the defense is throwing at them, and goes full-on takeover with a little more energy, ready to go, saved up. And that's smart. That's working smarter, not harder. And that's realizing, hey, my stats may not be as good as in previous years, but what matters is winning. And I know I can close. In terms of the last shot, I still would prefer Devin Booker for that last shot because Chris Paul is smaller. And in a one-on-one situation, if I need a bucket, I'm going with Book. But closing the game, play after play, going to the other team's weakness, putting your worst defender in screen and roll, that kind of thing. The game is opened up. It's one screen and roll, one pick and pop, one screen being set. causes so many more problems for the defense than it did before when Chris Paul was first in the league. So that's a big reason why he's been able to continue playing at such a superstar level, because he was always a god in pick and roll, but the pick and roll game is taken off to another level in this era. So it's worked out perfectly for him. And it's still no reason to be this good as he is. I mean, that's just unbelievable how great he is. And it's just all brains, skill, confidence. He killed that shit. And he has found the championship formula. To me, this is the way. This is the way. But can he do it? Can he get it done at the biggest moment? That won't be decided against Dallas. That won't be answered against Dallas. We're going to have to see. But he has found that perfect mix of not doing too much and then taking over and playing Chris ball when you need to, while getting everybody else going and letting everybody else get going. That's maturing. That's maturing. That's trusting your teammate, but also having a hell of a team. The best team he's ever played for, top to bottom. They have wing defenders. They have a scorer better than him. I always talk about that. A scorer better than him that is also clutch and reliable at the end of games. And yeah, when Chris Paul may be the worst defender. By the way, Devin Booker and Chris Paul, some really good defense tonight, especially Devin Booker. He had one possession defending Luka Doncic where he forced a 24-second violation. It was beautiful. So if Chris Paul may be your worst defender in your starting lineup, that means you're pretty damn good defensive team. So enough said. Suns win it 129-109. Chris Paul having a hell of a playoffs. Is Chris Paul still in his prime? Answer that question for me down below. If he's figured this out, he's lost a step. He is not, as able to carry as much as he used to throughout a game. He's not as quick as he once was, not as good of a defender as he once was. But goddamn, that mental game means a lot. Tell me what you think if Chris Paul's still in his prime. I think 2014, for him to make mistakes like that, that shows he was still not in his prime mentally. 2015 was the first year of his prime to me, but I thought it ended after the 2018 season when he had all those injuries in 2019. But if you think about it, OKC in the last 2 seasons in Phoenix, he's been pretty damn good in different ways. So let me know what you think. But thanks for joining me tonight, guys. Super chats are turned on if you want to drop $1 or a dime. Peace out and have a good night. By the way, my friend from one of my great friends, best friends from UMass, is coming to town, so I will not be live the next 2 nights. So I apologize. I'll probably be back live on Saturday, if not Sunday. So enjoy the games, guys. I will not be live. I'll be tweeting, though, so make sure to follow me on Twitter. But apologies for that. And I'll try to go over them if I can in some way, shape, or form. But enjoy the games, guys. Peace out, and I'll catch you guys on the weekend. What's up, y'all? This guy wants it, says Pasha Man. That's in regards to Chris Paul, I'd assume. Orion says, Ala Madrid. Oh, I should have said something about the Champions League, but I'll say it now. What a choke job by Man City. Oh, my God. They continue to choke. First, in 2018, losing to a Liverpool team that finished below them in the league that they won. 2019, losing to a Spurs team on away goals in the season that they won. 2020, Raheem Sterling missing the sitter in the semifinal against Lyon. Last year, losing to an inferior Chelsea team, my Chelsea. And now this year, 2 goals in stoppage time. They had it in the bag. Real Madrid-Liverpool rematch, 2018 all over again. Not really happy about it. I really wanted City to get there. They found a way to choke yet again. Let's go, says June 28, July. Cameron Hasselli says, glad to see Victor Oladipo getting minutes and making an impact. People forget he was the real deal on Indy after the PG era. Eric Hein Miller says, Harden's so washed, I feel bad for him. It's embarrassing to watch. Showtime Nick says, basketball time machine even went as far as taking Mitch Richmond over James Harden. Wow. Cameron Aselli says, Tyrese Maxey is not to be slept on. Facts. Cameron Aselli says, I know you despise Plumber Jim, but I want to see him win his ring, even if it's at the expense of Glenn winning 2. Not having this year, though. Hopefully Glenn will go to the Lakers. Ugh. How can you like that guy, man? If Glenn goes to the Lakers, Showtime Nick says, I'll probably react to that with a bag over my head. Man, that'd be something. Kyle Stakes says, watch your video about NBA getting better and better. Learn something new, especially regarding the old dribbling rules. Did you not watch those before, Kyle? Cameron says, rest in peace, Shane Richmond. Who's that? Kyle's Take says, you think the Mavs will lose their 4th straight home playoff game carrying over from last season? It wouldn't be because they had home playoff games in round 1. GP out 3 to 5 weeks. Yeah, I know it sucks, man. It's going to be hard. This series got a little bit more complicated. Kyle says, you heard about Lakers news recently? I'm not entertaining Laker rumors, guys. There's nothing concrete. It's just a bunch of fluff. You think the Mavs tie this up at home? No, I think they may easily lose one of the 2 games. I think this could be a 5-game series, honestly, the way it's looking right now. Cameron Asilli says Mavs getting swept at home. Best of the ace. They can take it to 5. Yeah, it seems like that. Cameron Asilli says, but hey, at least Luka made it out the. You mean made it to the second round? Kyle Stake says Luka finally gets out of the first round in the first year of not fighting Kawhi in the Clips. Yep, and that's not surprising either. Cameron said hated the Suns last postseason for beating the Clippers, but honestly, I do want CP3 to get his ring. He deserves it. How many guys you want to win rings? Championship window's closing. Yeah. Omar says, Dime, it's the second round. He hasn't figured out a championship formula yet. They've beaten up on Dallas easily. It's a one-man show over there. I think Phoenix will struggle against Miami, Boston, and Bucks. Well, I think that the way to beat those teams is by doing this too, though, Omar. That's the only thing I'll say to that. But I feel what you're saying. June 28th, July says CP3, get your ring. Liverpool, Real Madrid in NBA terms. I don't know. It's impossible to compare because Liverpool and Real play in different countries. Kyle's take says, but here's the thing, Dime. Compare CP3 and all the teams he played in. NOLA versus LAC versus Houston versus OKC versus Phoenix. What are you talking about? Old Dirty Dasher says, sup. Kyle's takes says CP3 ain't in his prime anymore, but that doesn't mean he still isn't a great player. His championship window is in its widest right now. At Kyle's takes, Showtime Dick says, I learned about the dribbling rules too from the same series you're talking about. It opened my eyes too. Kyle's takes says, is Booker CP3's greatest teammate? Yes. Kyle Steak says, true at Showtime Nick. Never heard about it. And yeah, no wonder the awkward dribbling. Showtime Nick says, I never thought 50s or 60s players were plumbers and janitors, but I didn't really know how great they were until I learned about the dribbling rules. June 28th, July says, opinion on Harden. Oh my God. How do you want me to get? You haven't heard it by now? He's ass. He's not ass, but he's ass compared to his old self. He's just on the decline, man. He cheated the game for so long. Just foul baiting, abusing the rules, the softest rules in the history of the NBA, playing heliocentric ball, just high pick and roll every second with shooters, encourage, shoot like 10 threes. I mean, I don't know. Got the travel call in Clear last night. It was a little bit harsh, but it was a travel at the end of the day, right? I think it was still. I think he missed a shot. That's all I got to say on that. Any last words? Super chat to turn on. You want to drop $1 or a dime? Anything helps. But also, no, I'm not going to say it. Omar says, difference is Boston, Milwaukee, and Miami have bodies throughout CP3. He's the X factor of that Suns team. He makes them go. Fair. Kyle's take says, missed too many shots. Cameron Slade said, say it. Say what? Oh, no, it's not that serious. But anyway, y'all be good, guys. Any last words? No. Let's see what we got on the agenda tomorrow. Oh, there's no games tomorrow? Oh, if there's no games tomorrow, that's huge. That'd be huge if there's no games tomorrow. Yes, no games tomorrow. Woo! So this doesn't matter. So I can't take the day off. Beautiful. Okay, think Adams needs more PT for Grizz? No, I don't. He's too slow in this series, man. Way too slow. He can't guard in this series. So East Finals, Heat versus Bucks or C's. I'm going, yeah, I'm still going with this. I'm still sticking with my pick. Cinco de Drinko, yeah, Cinco de Mayo. All right, guys, have a good night. Peace out. Be safe. I'll see y'all tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. I'll see y'all probably Saturday or Sunday. Peace.